Just like every Monday, we're going to pull up the next gen stats and look at the trendy wide receivers from week 11. See whether or not we need to pick these guys up off waivers, trade for them, trade them away before the deadline, add to our confirmation bias, whatever we need to do with these players. We're going to talk about it here today. But what you need to do before we dig in is click that subscribe button. Tap it with the finger on your phone real quick. Tap it with your mouse on your computer right now, whatever you need to do, because we cover the waiver wire extensively all week long. We're going to have more waiver wire content throughout the week, probably more tonight as we get ready for Thanksgiving. We help you set your lineups. We help you get your trades done. We talk DFS. We talk Dynasty. We help you gear up for the start of the season. So hit that button so you don't miss out in preseason next year as we're getting you ready for your drafts. Ric Flair is watching you too. Don't disappoint him. But let's dig in. Let's dig into these wide receivers from week 11. Look at the trends. The big trend here with the Rams, Matthew Stafford is back. Cooper Kupp also got dinged up in this game. We got to monitor him. But Puka Ngata, 5 balls caught, 70 yards, was getting things done in this matchup. Also a touchdown, targets deep downfield, targets all over the place. And we're back to seeing him get a full workload here. He's averaging 7 targets a game in his last 3. 21 targets in all 3 of those games. That's how the math adds up there. But Puka Ngata scoring fantasy points. Of course, he's the wide receiver we do not need to worry about going forward. But we might be able to expect more with Matthew Stafford back in the fold here. More volume, more opportunities. Things might increase. That's one thing to point out. Khalil Shakir is that weekly lottery ticket that we've wanted here. A weekly lottery ticket to get off the waiver wire. You can tell that by looking at his last 4 games. 15 fantasy points in week 8, 9 in week 9, 3 in 10, 20 in week 11. That volatility, that's a roller coaster ride. But the thing about that is if you're picking up a wide receiver off waivers and you do not know who to pick up, or if you're looking at the wide receivers and you're like, you know what? Most of these guys are good enough to get me by 9, 10, 11 fantasy points. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll hit. Or I look at a guy like this. It's in a high volume offense. And all he has to do is connect on one of those deep balls. And it's 1 every 4 games, 2 every 5 games, or something like that. And maybe I get lucky that week. Or I bust. I get 3.4, 9.7. You know what? I'm not too far off on those bust weeks and some of those other wide receivers I'm looking to get off the waiver wire. But if I hit that top end, it's grand. It wins my week. That's a wide receiver you need to think about whether or not you need that in your life. Khalil Shakir is that guy, that deep ball city threat who could blow up on any given matchup, but you have to know how to play it. Brandon Aiyuk went off 156 yards, 1 touchdown, caught 5 balls off 6 targets. The big trend here, we knew it coming in, is you throw the ball on the Buccaneers. You throw it deep, you go off deep. That's where you can be successful. And the NFL tells us this because every matchup, every team tries it. Go look at the game logs from games past, and that's what you'll see. Brandon Aiyuk's been steady. Brandon Aiyuk has been productive. He's not considered a top-tier wide receiver, but he's as productive as many of them. So if you're looking for a wide receiver to get before the trade deadline, look at Brandon Aiyuk. Devonte Adams still getting volume with a rookie quarterback. That's something we like to see here. A lot of people were scared of that a few weeks ago. You know what? He's still Devonte Adams. He's still getting targets. Volume still going his way. Might be a little bit more volatile because that's to be expected with a rookie quarterback. But one thing we can say, Devonte Adams is still Devonte Adams. He's still earning a lot of targets here. Calvin Ridley finally went off, and it's against the Tennessee Titans. Like what we said about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a few minutes ago, you want to throw it heavy on the Titans. You want to toss it deep. They're a pass funnel defense. They're a little bit tougher on the run. Even though you can run on them here and there, we've seen it in some matchups. Still, You want to toss it deep on these guys, and Ridley hit this week. He was due. He was due. It's volatile. He was up and down. The team's been volatile this year, but still, he got his opportunities. 9 targets, 7 balls caught, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I told some people to start him. They're very inquisitive about that. I think they even doubted me saying that, but he hit. And when you're playing against the Titans, that number 1 wide receiver, if he's getting deep, they're going to toss him the rock a few times, and he might hit in that matchup. Look at the Titans as a plus matchup for wide receivers going forward. Tank Dell is on a tear. Last 3 games, week 9 against Tampa Bay, 29.6 PPR points. Cincinnati, 18.9. This week against Arizona, 28.9. We expected the Texans players to do well in fantasy, from Devin Singletary to Tank Dell. Anybody on the field had the opportunity to have their moment. Tank Dell did. He did it, and he's going off. One of the top rookies this year. He is. And no one really pegged to this extent. No one did. People said he was good. People said he was going to be a good slot. Some people said he was going to be bad. And there was a lot of variables mixed into that. CJ Stroud, rookie quarterback. What I was saying, he's going to be good on the deep ball. He's going to be accurate on the deep ball. Might see some up and downs here due to the coaching staff. Might start off slow due to the coaching staff. They may want to run it more. They may do this and that. I was wrong on that. They let it fly. 80 plays in the first game. They let it fly. They let them learn. I'm proud of them for doing that. I'm proud of this team. I'm not a Texans fan, but I'm proud of this team. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this team this year. I am. And I was inquisitive from what I saw last year, but we did have all those quarterbacks and all that, but you can't get a true read on that. But I'm proud of this team. This team makes me proud. Even though I'm not a Texans fan, I can still be proud of them. I'm proud of Stroud. I'm proud of Dell. I'm proud of this offense. Keenan Allen, the big note here, as we look at the targets in the last few weeks and even in this game, he is getting spammed. He is a junk email of targets right now. He's getting all those opportunities from 10 targets in week 8, 9 in week 9, 11 in week 10, and then 16 in week 11, 15 per next-gen stats. He's just getting spammed. He's getting all these opportunities to score fantasy points, and that is a good thing if you have him on your team. No worries. I don't think you can sell him in fantasy. I think it's going to be impossible to buy because I'm not selling a wide receiver who's getting almost 20 targets in some of these games. I just can't do it. I know there's an injury history, but on this pace of the season, we're on the back 9 here. That's could happen to any wide receiver out there. And he is getting so many targets that you have to start him. Elijah Moore, 7 targets, 6 catches, 60 yards, new quarterback in, and the volume's still there, which is good to see. In the start of the season, he was pushing a 20% target share, if not higher, getting a good amount of volume, and he's starting to see that more here in the last couple of games. Week 10, 7 targets. Week 11, 7 targets. 12 fantasy points in week 11, 15 in week 10. So he might be heating up. Might be a wide receiver you need to look at. In the start of the season, he was getting a lot of opportunities and targets. It just wasn't hitting. It just wasn't working out. He wasn't firing. But now the workload's starting to ramp up. You may want to be looking at Elijah Moore, and he might be hitting to his upside, or at least being a wide receiver that can get you by in some of these matchups. Odell Beckham Jr. looks like he's coming back. Look at these last 3 weeks here. Week 9 against Seattle, 14.6 PPR fantasy points. Week 10 against Cleveland, he got you 11. He got you by in that matchup. A tough matchup, by the way. And then Cincinnati, 15.6. He's getting targets deep downfield. Look at the chart. Those are air yards. That is how you score fantasy points as a wide receiver, connecting on those deep targets unless you're getting a huge volume there. He's a guy to pick up and look at. And you know what? You're not going to trust him because you're not. You're not going to trust any wide receiver off the waiver wire. You shouldn't. But still, he is hot right now, and he's trending up and looking good. And you know what? You got to give him those props. Adam Thielen, he's just trusty rusty. No matter the matchup, he's going to get peppered in targets. He's going to get you opportunities. You start him because he's getting opportunities. You see what happens. It's going to run bad here and there. But you know what? Targets are going to be there. That's the trend. It's been like that all season. We had a bad matchup against the Cowboys. He still got 11 targets. Reason why I'm saying that is going into this matchup, I had a lot of questions about Adam Thielen. People worried about this matchup. And now we saw the results. We saw what happened. We saw a lot of workload. And I said, he's probably going to be good enough to get you by. He's probably going to score enough to make you okay. He may not hit. He may not get you 100 to 200 yards. He may not do that. 8 balls caught, 74 yards, 15 fantasy points. Okay, better than good enough because the volume was there, and that's what Adam Thielen does, and that's what Adam Thielen is in 2023. Those are 10 trendy wide receivers from Week 11. We're going to talk more on the waiver wire here soon, so you better hit that subscribe button. Ric Flair's watching. Don't disappoint him. I don't want him sad anymore. Hit that button. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.